Hey there, welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And here's what's coming up on the Eagles Now rundown. The Birds making a couple of roster moves that we're going to discuss, and an interesting Eagles report from Fox NFL insider Jay Glazer. Before we dive in, we appreciate you all throughout this week as we're sitting here on this Wednesday, December 18th. Every show that I've done, I've mentioned the fact that we are getting so close to 95,000 subscribers. Well, overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday, thanks to your work all week and you supporting this show, we surpassed 95K. Once we get to 100,000 subscribers, YouTube will send us that silver plaque and we'll celebrate here on the show. Let's begin with some roster moves here. Bryce Huff, remember him? Eagles opened up his practice window, suffered a wrist injury prior to that Jaguars game during warmups in Week 9. The 2 games after that, he played with a cast on his left hand, and then the Eagles realized he's not able to play. Let's allow him to recover. So Philadelphia put him on injured reserve prior to Week 12. He has missed the designated 4 games, and now he's able to return whenever he is healthy enough to do so. And what's been crazy, this is one of the marquee free agency signings for Howie Roseman and this organization. He's been out for a month, and nobody has noticed. And Howie Roseman has had a damn good offseason, or should I say past tense, he did have a damn good offseason, and that's a big reason why Philadelphia is in the position that they are. Opportunity to get that number 1 seed in the NFC, 12-2, 10 consecutive wins, and Howie Roseman's offseason and team building, flawless. That's why he could very well be the executive of the year. Think about the moves that he's made and why the Eagles are where they are right now. It's because of Philadelphia's general manager here. Drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. He signed Zach Baun for the vet min. He's been a borderline defensive player of the year so far. Signed Saquon Barkley to a 2-year, $26 million guaranteed contract. Knocked it out of the park. He's already played above that value. Brought in Mekhi Becton, a failed tackle who's been a tremendous right guard, and brought in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But the Bryce Huff contract was not just mentioned by yours truly, and there's a reason for that, because he hasn't played well, and the Eagles gave him $34 million in guaranteed money. 3-year contract, $51 million total. That comes out to an average annual value of $17 million per year. And is there a scenario where Bryce Huff can turn the dialogue about him around? For sure. And it hasn't been all that bad when you look at some of the analytics. Are the sack numbers there? No, not when you're paying a player $17 million per season, 34 guaranteed, and he's coming off a year last year with the Jets in which he had 10. Now he only has 2.5, but he is in the green with this Pro Football Focus numbers. Overall grade of 68.9, pass rush grade of 66.4, run defense grade of 60.6, 14 pressures, 11 hurries, and 1 quarterback hit, 3 TFLs. He got off to such a slow start, started to find his groove a little bit, then suffered that injury and slid back down the depth chart. And luckily for Philadelphia, their pass rush has been very good with and without Bryce Huff producing. Josh Sweat, rebound year, leads the team with 8 sacks. Nolan Smith, monster sophomore campaign. Second on the Eagles in sacks with 5.5. Milton Williams has 5. Jalen Carter has 4.5. Brandon Graham, 3.5. Zach Baun and Kobe Dean, they have combined for 6.5 sacks from that linebacker spot. You see Huff there at 2.5. The rookie Jalix Hunt, who's added depth to the Eagles' edge rotation, 1.5 sacks for him. And then Jordan Davis with 1. Philadelphia as a team, 10th in sacks. They have 39 team sacks as a whole. The Broncos, by the way, are number 1 in the NFL with 49, so Philadelphia 10 behind that league lead, just for some context. And what Bryce Huff coming back does give Philadelphia is more pass rush depth. And the Eagles do need that after the injury to Brandon Graham. Once he went out, we all had some questions about the lack of depth in trying to generate and apply pressure on the opposing quarterback. To be fair for Huff, I believe this has to be a part of the conversation. Vic Fangio has done a great job of maximizing players, putting them in a position to succeed, developing them, especially with some of these young players. And I think the players' ability to adapt to the scheme is a credit to the coaching. But for Bryce Huff, Vic Fangio wasn't using him the way that the Jets used him last year when he had those 10 sacks. Bryce Huff is at his best when he's in a 4-point stance. 2 feet on the ground, 2 hands on the ground, getting that fast get off. Vic Fangio is using him as a stand-up edge rusher. And then Brian Baldinger takes the tape to X and says the Eagles are utilizing him wrong. So then we start to see Bryce Huff out wide, digging deep, 2 hands, 2 feet on the grass, ready to pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. That's when he started to turn the corner a little bit. So let's be fair to Bryce Huff in this conversation. I am also curious, though, with the Eagles' pass rush producing, with this defense playing so well, how many rotational snaps will be available to Bryce Huff? We'll see when he returns. Doesn't have to be activated this week. If he's not ready to go, the likely corresponding roster move probably going to be Philadelphia waiving Charles Harris. The other Eagles roster move here, tight end Kevin Foelsch, the UDFA. He has been signed right now on the active roster for Philadelphia at that tight end spot. Greg Calcaterra, CJ Uzama, EJ Jenkins, Dallas Goedert currently on IR. He can't return until at least week 18 at the earliest. And Foelsch, he has been signed and released multiple times by the Eagles. They clearly like him. That's why they're bringing him back. A little bit of an insurance policy at that tight end spot. I do want to hear from you before we continue to move forward on today's show. What year did you become an Eagles fan? For me, it was 1996 after I was born in 1992. Chip, he wasn't born until 2001. So we're going to get a lot of ages and a lot of different years in the comment section. Sound off and let me know. So that's the first portion of the show. Eagles making a couple of roster moves still to come. Very interesting Eagles report from NFL insider Jay Glazer. You don't want to miss what he had to say. Stay tuned for that. But first, our sponsor for today's Philadelphia Eagles now, our friends at Game Time. It's the holiday season. It's the season of giving. Christmas is coming up. Hanukkah as well. You know what's the perfect gift? How about tickets to an Eagles game, sporting event? But also, thanks to Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to find tickets also to comedy shows, concerts, and theater events. What's awesome about the Game Time app, they give you the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. They have flash deals and zone deals, ticket insurance, the Game Time guarantee. If you find a lower price elsewhere, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I love how you can see the vantage point and the price point from your seats. For instance, you can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You get the seat view, you get the aerial view as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. What time is it? You already know. It's Game Time. Did Big Dom DeSandro help save the season for the Philadelphia Eagles? He is in such a unique role, and I actually do believe that what he does is very important. The Eagles have credited him with helping with personnel. He was somebody in the organization because of his familiarity with New Jersey high school football that the Eagles had to bring in Corey Clement as a UDFA. Corey Clement in the Super Bowl was a big reason why Philadelphia won that game against New England in 2017. He keeps Nick Sirianni under check. He does a lot as far as player relations, and that's why the Eagles have elevated him up the totem pole within this organization, and he's so peak South Philadelphia Italian that it fits perfectly for this organization. And what Jay Glazer had to say about his involvement with the certain team meeting is certainly going to open up some eyes here. First from Jay Glazer, though. He had some intel on the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts story from last week, what was going on between the quarterback and the wide receiver, what happened during a specific meeting. Here's what Glazer had to say. The drama was way bigger outside the building than inside the building. The first team meeting after Brandon Graham said what he said, Jalen and A.J. got up there and were like, man, we're good. Just so everybody here knows, we're fine. Dapped each other up like we're good. And then Brandon Graham got up and apologized for being a distraction, Brandon's a great dude. He just spoke out of turn there, but I was told about it. It's like, this is going to galvanize us. It's going to make us better. Trust me, when this stuff happens, it turns us more to the right. We get to fight the world, and that's who they are. Eagles football is bully football, the way they get after you on defense, and certainly this offensive line, man, they just beat you down, and beat you down. I've been saying that on the show for weeks. The style of play for Philadelphia wears the opposition down throughout the course of a ball game. We had also speculated after what Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown said publicly. I think they are good. But I do think that Brandon Graham put this out there, forcing A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts to get on the same page, to address the matter for the greater good of the team. Nick Sirianni did a good job of addressing this with the team, keeping everything together, not letting this unravel. And that's why the vibes here in 2024 continue to be a lot like the vibes in 2022 and in 2017. What happened then? Eagles made it to the Super Bowl both years. They brought that Lombardi trophy back in 2017. But then there's this from Jay Glazer. The thing that nobody knows, this is a credit to Jalen Hurts. In the bye week, Brandon Graham and Big Dom went to Jalen's house and they said, hey man, we need you to kind of connect more with everybody here. As a quarterback, you kind of get lost in that. There's so much other stuff you've got to do. And he went out of his way. He met with the offensive line, connected. He met with Nick Sirianni several times, connected with him. Connected with everybody. He went out of his way with Graham, with everybody, to connect with them more. He said, okay, I know there's more to the quarterback position than me just sitting here with the game plan and making sure I can throw here, throw there, and they all credit him with doing a great job for it. And it's just not out there how good of a job he's done to connect with his teammates. I do think there's something to be said for that. You know, last year, things got a little bit rocky, and the sea, there was some choppy waters within the Eagles Ocean, and the cruise ship, it was kind of uneven a little bit. Not quite sinking like the Titanic. Too soon? Nah, not too soon. That was a long time ago. But things were a little bit rocky, and Jalen Hurts had to do a better job of being a better leader, of bringing his teammates together. That's part of what the job entails and what the job description is for the quarterback position. And so good on Jalen Hurts if he did that. Brandon Graham did comment on this story on Instagram, and he said, lies, LOL. So who knows if all of it is true. Some of it is true. I think Jay Glazer got this from a pretty good spot. I don't think that he would make this up, but who knows? Brandon Graham also went on the radio and aired out that laundry, and he had to apologize to the team. So who the hell knows at this point? Thought it was pretty cool. Wanted to pass it along because my job is to inform all of you. If you enjoyed today's show, let's do a Real One roll call. I want you to type Real One down in the comment section. As always, thank you so much for supporting the show, and we'll catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.